Hi, I'm Julio Sainz along with Mauricio Riveros. Today we'll learn about a new business incubator downtown for food entrepreneurs opening shortly.
We hope you will be inspired.
Celebrating leaders in Rochester's unique and vibrant business community. We'll meet entrepreneurs whose passion and perseverance have helped push through life's challenges. Join us as we share their stories and journeys to success. It's time to be inspired.
Laura, thank you very much for being our program, Be Inspired, a program that we designed to inspire our community, to interview people like you with exciting things. And I know that today we'll have a special day because I know that your organization is creating something very innovative, very creative, and thank you for that. So let's start learning who is Laura.
Well, thank you so much for having me here today. So Laura Fox O'Sullivan, I'm the Vice President of the Rochester Downtown Development Corporation. I'm the President of the Commissary, a downtown kitchen incubator that is coming to downtown Rochester in just a few months. So we've been working on this project for 3.5 years, and it's really inspired by the need to help provide some support for aspiring food entrepreneurs in our community. I personally have a lot of passion for the food industry. My husband is a food business owner. He owns food trucks and a restaurant and a catering business, and my father is also in the food industry. So I've always been really interested in the industry and have seen how it can positively impact people in our community who are interested in owning their own businesses, in improving their lives, and employing other people and improving their lives as well, and giving us great food to eat as well. So that was one of the inspirations, was how can we help aspiring food businesses who are facing a lot of barriers to entry in launching and growing their food businesses. And the other part of it, the inspiration for this project, was the need to create more activity in downtown Rochester. So at the Rochester Downtown Development Corporation, our mission is to increase vitality and walkability in downtown, and to make downtown a more inclusive place for all of Rochester, all of our community. And we've learned through some experts in the economic development and urban planning fields that, and we all know this from visiting other cities, that it's not traditional retail that's going to activate downtowns. It's food and drink establishments. You go to any great city, and what you see is people sitting outside at cafes, they're eating, they're drinking, they're socializing. That's where the real activity comes in. And so we see the commissary as one way in which we can help activate Main Street. It'll be located in the Sibley Building, which is right and on the heart of Main Street in downtown Rochester. And it will also encourage people to locate their food businesses downtown, we hope, and in other areas of the city that need that activation and needed food business services.
That is wonderful news for Rochester. I'm excited because I think, like you said, when we put food, people get out, people develop relationships, we enjoy part of our culture, different backgrounds, different ethnic backgrounds. So let's talk about your history a little bit. You said that you grew up in the food industry. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit in more specific, were you running a restaurant? Was you part of a restaurant? What was your story?
For me, no. My background is actually in urban planning.
Okay.
So it's really just that so my father owns and operates restaurants, and I would, my first job was, as a hostess at his restaurant, and then I would be a waitress and then a bartender. And so I came to be very comfortable in understanding the food industry, but it's really through my husband's business that I really got to understand it from an owner's perspective, especially as a small business owner starting out. And where the connection was really made for the need of the commissary, this kitchen incubator project, was, as I mentioned, my husband Marty has 2 food trucks. The first was Marty's Meats, and he launched it 8 years ago now. And at the time, he was the second food truck in the Rochester area. And not to bore the guest with health department lingo, but you technically can have your food truck act as your commercial kitchen, but my wonderful husband, is 6'7", and he does barbecue. So he's smoking meats and all of that. So not only is he a pretty big guy, but he also is needing to smoke meats for days at a time that can't physically fit on a truck. It's not feasible, and it's just not realistic. It's also very costly if that's your only kitchen. You're not able to buy supplies in bulk and store them and things like that. So he was on the hunt for a commercial kitchen that he could rent. He didn't need a big space, but he needed something that was relatively built out, that maybe had some equipment in it that he could use, and he had the hardest time finding something. So fast forward 8 years, and we have something like 50 food trucks in the Rochester area, and nobody has come along because it's expensive and it's also illegal to develop a shared kitchen facility. We're working very closely with the Monroe County Health Department, and they are very supportive of this project because we are going to have a lot of food safety regulations and protocol in place. We're having on-site staff, we're having security protocols. So it's going to be a very safe environment, a very monitored environment for different food businesses to share a single space. But it was really Marty's experience in seeing the demand for commercial kitchens, and also how many people, as we all know people who have great ideas for recipes and want to start a food business, but they just don't have the capital or the resources to do so. And so this is a great opportunity for people who have the idea, they have the passion, they have the work ethic, but they might not have the capital or the credit or the resources within their community to get the job done and launch their food business.
And we were talking a little bit before the show. I was asking you because I, like most people, think I can cook, and everybody thinks they can cook, or everyone thinks they have this recipe that maybe is a family tradition or something that would be a hit. And many of them probably do that are watching the show and could benefit from this new project. What are the cost savings by being able to go to a place like this?
Yep. They're huge. They really are. So just to be clear for anybody who's listening, I recommend that they go to our website, rochestercommissary.org. We have a lot of information up there, and we're always adding more about the permits and documents that will be needed. For any individual business, it'll run them between $500 and $1,000 to get their Monroe County Health permit, to form a legal business, and a couple other things. Their food safety training and everything is outlined on our website. And it's really important to note that we really are looking for people who want to launch a legal food business, that they're at that point in their business where they're ready to do that. If they want to make samples and hand them out to family and say, what do you think about my meatball recipe? Do that at home, save your money. It's when you're ready to launch your business, when you're ready to make your first sale, that's when you join the kitchen. And so the cost savings from a build-out perspective, that's really where the cost savings are coming into place. So I'd like to note that there's no long-term lease. Somebody joins the commissary, they pay those upfront costs I just outlined, plus a few more, all on our website. And then they just book their time in the kitchen for when they need it. So there's no minimum. If somebody just likes to bake cookies at the holidays, they can do that. They don't have to come in every month for a set number of hours. We're really looking to support aspiring food entrepreneurs who are trying to, I want this to be a home to people who just want some supplemental income for their family, to people who are looking to be, the next best thing in hot sauce nationally, which we actually do have in town. Karma sauce. Do you guys know Karma sauce?
No, I have to try it.
Yes, it's excellent. But they've had huge success in the last few years, and they're a local Rochester company. But that doesn't mean there's not room for another one coming out of the commissary.
Now let's go one step further, and let's think in terms of the vision. What is the vision? What is the ultimate goal in terms of the 5 years plan or 4 years or whatever is the vision that you set up? I'd like to see where you guys are taking this.
So our overall mission, as I said, is to provide an environment for aspiring food entrepreneurs to launch and grow their businesses. And so let's talk about how many businesses we think we'll be able to do that for. So I don't think I've mentioned that shared kitchens are illegal in Monroe County. If both of you own food businesses, you can't share costs by sharing a space, even if you're not even in there at the same time. It's illegal in Monroe County.
Can I rent out my kitchen to him? No?
No.
Wow.
No subleasing is allowed. Yep. And the health department says that they're sticking by that, except for this project, because as I mentioned, of the food safety protocol, the security, all of that. And so because shared kitchens are not legal here, there's huge demand for people who either have underground home-based food businesses or are looking to launch a business from scratch. We have about an informal list of 150 people who want to join the kitchen. We think that in our first year, we'll be able to be home to between 30 and 50 businesses. So that right there, in terms of the impact, especially the majority of those will be net new businesses, right? They'll be home-based businesses that have not been filing tax returns, or there are people who are, who knows, underemployed, unemployed, in a job they don't like, and now here they are launching a business. And we all know, while automation is happening in a lot of sectors, the food industry remains a sector that is human focused, and it takes people and it takes employees. So I think there's huge possibilities in terms of economic development for this project, in terms of the number of business owners that we'll be able to support, as well as the number of employees that will grow out of that.
Well, thank you, Laura. We'll be back with more after these messages. And as far as providing support to the entrepreneurs that come to you, I think you touched a little bit on some of the training and workshops and support services that will be there for them. Can you tell us a little bit more about those?
Sure. So when we conceived of this project, we went around to a lot of our partners in economic development and in business support services. And what we found was that while Ibero, RITQ, Urban League, SBDC, they all provide a certain level of business services that can support food businesses. None of them have the expertise to truly guide a food business. And it takes a certain type of person with a certain level of confidence to call up the health department and say, I want to launch a food business, or I might have this food business that isn't totally legal. What do I need to do to make my business legal? What do I need? And even if you call up the health department or the Department of Ag and Markets, you're not going to get the full story, because there are so many components that go into being a legal food business, but also a successful food business. So, and also the most important thing that we heard from our partners in this ecosystem was that, as we know, if somebody walks in your door and they say, I've got this great recipe, I've gotten my DBA, but I need a commercial kitchen. If you don't have the money for the commercial kitchen, you're stuck, right? So we've covered that, right? The shared kitchens, they're not legal. If you want to be a legal food business, you have to invest in your own kitchen, and it's too much for a lot of people to bear when they're starting off. So it's very core to our mission, and why we call ourselves an incubator is that we're providing food industry specific business services. And so we will have, in addition to myself, we will have an on-site facility manager and a couple part-time people who will be there to help onboard our members and answer questions. But what really we'll be doing is connecting them to resources and bringing the resources to the commissary members at the incubator. So we have so many resources in the food industry. We have so much innovation in the food industry locally. Cornell is a great partner for us. Actually, at the end of January, we are hosting an all-day workshop on food safety with the Cornell Food Venture Center. That's incredibly valuable. for people who are looking to do packaged food goods in particular. It's on Saturday, January 25th, and people can find information for that on our website as well. Ledestri Foods is a partner that's bringing a lot of industry knowledge to us. And we have a whole host of other partners that are really helping to bring knowledge to our members. You know, they'll need support through workshops, through one-on-one meeting with our entrepreneurs and residents, through small group mentorship program. We'll be covering things like, how do you get a UPC code? How do you brand and market a food business? Like, what's unique to the food industry in terms of marketing? All the food safety regulations we'll be covering. There's really a whole host of topics to be covered. And we actually have a workshop series that we've already started, and people can view those on our website.
Laura, I really get excited because I personally believe that this model is a very sustainable model. Is creating the right resources in the right time. Incubation is fundamental to grow business, to allow them to find the right resources and create those synergies that will make them better. Now, one of the elements that we try to always talk in our program is, what will be your message? Because you are a very positive person, very creative, and you are an innovator. What would be the message for people who are right now suffering maybe depression, and they maybe have failed because the business in the food business in general is a very challenging business. It has a lot of variables, and yeah, you can be a wow restaurant for like 5 months and then you go south very quick. What would be your message for that people who are looking for a second chance?
That's a great question. So you're right, and the food industry has incredibly high failure rates. It's very competitive. It's a good thing that Rochester is becoming more of a foodie town. That also means there's more competition and there are more options. I think that one thing that I would say is that the resources that are going to be available at the commissary are not just for the members of the commissary. So if someone is interested in starting a food business and they're thinking, you know, this is really just an idea, I just need to think this over. I'm not ready to make that first sale. I'm not ready to pay that hourly rental rate. Come to a couple workshops, check out our website, give me a call. And I think what people will be interested to hear is that our physical space has been laid out in a way that will really encourage the growth of a whole array of food businesses. So we're really not just looking for people who want to eventually grow out of the commissary and start a restaurant. That's for a particular type of person. It's very labor intensive, it's long hours. Maybe that's not what someone's looking to do. We are going to be available for people if they want to have a food truck. We'll be a great prep kitchen for that, for caterers, for packaged food goods I mentioned, for bakers, even if they just want to do it seasonally. You know, we have such a boom season here during festival season over the summer that if people just want to do the festivals, that's an option. They can do that. They don't have to commit every hour of every day of their lives to this food business. I think that if they have a passion for not just cooking, but for running a small business, because I do think it takes those two things, then they should consider at least just checking out the commissary. As I mentioned, we're going to be very full, very busy, so we're not looking for people, you know, if they don't want to join, they don't have to. But there are going to be a lot of opportunities for people to think creatively about how they can follow their inspiration in the food industry without thinking, oh, that means I have to be back in a kitchen working 12-hour days. That's not necessarily the case.
Amazing. And so the best way is for people to visit rochestercommissary.com.
.org. We're
okay.
a not-for-profit. Yep.
Okay, good. And then there's an application there. And when are you going to open the facility?
So we're hoping for May. It might be June, but I'm really have my fingers crossed for a May opening. Our applications are coming soon to the website. So go to the website, get on our mailing list. That's the most important thing because that's how we'll be communicating that applications are open. The application is not short, and that's intentional. We really want people to be thinking about why they want to have a food business, what makes their business unique, why there's a need for that business. We're not requiring a business plan this first year, and so the application is a bit of a business, making you think about your business plan without having to drill down to all the details that you won't know yet, because you either haven't launched or you're going to be transitioning from a very different facility than to what we're moving into now. So applications are coming soon. Sign up on the mailing list and check out our resources for which permits and documents that you need to be prepared to have upon opening.
Laura, you have brought a lot of inspiration today, because I think, again, the idea to have something in downtown that is focusing the food services and create this concept of community and create this concept of supporting and incubating the food business in general is fundamental. For that reason, I want to say thank you very much. And I am sure when you open in May 2021, when that is opening, 2020, sorry,
Oh yeah, coming
2020,
soon, coming
2020, we will be together there celebrating that grand opening.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Coming up next week on Be Inspired, we'll meet Mike Rodriguez, owner of Mike's Auto Sales. To watch today's episode and the complete interviews of our guests, go to rochesterfirst.com/beinspired. For more great talk with Rochester's entrepreneurs, listen to Poder 97.1 Saturdays at 9 a.m. For Mauricio Riveros, I'm Julio Saenz. We'll see you next week on Be Inspired.